Alright, we're back with MacArthur's War, MDG Games. We are moving into the March 51 turn now. The UN player is first, but as a quick recap, everything pretty much changed last turn when the Communists were able to successfully escalate the Asian War. And I did obtain from the designer an updated escalation ladder here. So moving from limited to Asian, we do see here that the PLA replacements shoot up. Correction from the previous one, Soviet Union is still out of scope. I would say and 8 US air points now. But a big change also is when you look over here, they can bring in M and US units now for no cost. National Guard though is still going to cost 1. USSR, they can now bring them into the battle for 1. So they're all mobilized and on the strategic map here in Siberia. So the Communists can start bringing in USSR units. Yeah, Nationalist China is in the war, Formosa. PLA armies are all in. And notice here, 1 per atomic bomb before, but now, no cost. Atomic bombs can be used. Now there's another cost, and we'll look at that. But you don't have to spend victory points to use it. So this definitely does change the complexion. The other thing that happened last turn, big event, the Chinese were able to land 2 armies on Formosa, Taiwan, Nationalist China, and now there is a conflict here. And it kind of caught the US flat-footed right now because they can't get anybody in there to reinforce it anytime soon. We'll look at that chart table too. Victory points, let's look at that real quick. Bringing China in scope, not the USSR yet, took them to 21, while the UN is still at 4. So that is a big disparity that has to be dealt with. And then we've got atomic bombs in play, which US player has 300 atomic bombs. The Soviets, I didn't calculate before, but basically you get it in the rules. It says 2d6 during setup, and you multiply the 2 numbers, and that tells you, and it's supposed to be kept a secret. Kind of hard to do if I'm playing solo. Here's a preparation for play. Communist player, there it is. Write this number down on a piece of paper. No, I'll just put it on the chart. So let's see what we get. Gosh. Okay. So they got 36. They got the maximum number of bombs. Oh boy, this map is going to get littered with atomic explosions. Let's use the right phrase. Not quite as powerful as NATO 61. Alright, so let's go ahead and get started here, and let's work it through. The first thing we have to roll for is what's the weather. And like I said, we are in the month of March. Already moved it, so I will pull up the charts. I'm going to keep them separately here. Yeah, that's a new escalation ladder. So let's find the chart here for March. Could be snowing. Let's roll the die. And the weather is 2. We are clear. Clear, clear, clear. That means all bets are off. But right now the Marines are stuck here, almost surrounded by Chinese. They're not doing any invasions. So we're going to go to clear, no penalties. And that means we get 8 air points, actually. Let's clone, and let's see if I can do this. Clone 4. There we go. 8 air points. May use it for interdiction, maybe not. So, coming back to the sequence of play. Yep, escalation phase. No. We can look at it, but we actually lose. We can start. Radioactive waste doesn't cost as much. We'll look at that, but that brings Europe into play and everything. Nope, not interested right now. So that's the air phase. The US player gets 8 air points. Now, does he want to use them for interdiction? And that allows you to put enemy units out of supply, halves their movement and their combat. But at this point, the Chinese are close enough, and I don't think it gives enough bang for the buck, and you're going to see there's another way to do this. Let's see, got to find that. There we go. So if I'm in China, well, I'd probably do it in North Korea. So North Korea, number of air points. If I do 3, I can potentially only put 1 out of supply. There's too many Chinese. We're just going to save the air points for now, although I'm not planning many attacks, probably just here, and I don't know if it's worth it to go after 1 victory point here, especially when they have 6 replacement points. I think it may be time to hunker down right here on the narrowest part of the peninsula and see what happens. So I'm just not seeing. Well, we could put a bunch of people out of supply if they were the target of my attack. But actually, we're going to see there's another way to do this. So I'm not going to do that for now. We're going to pass on interdiction. Don't really feel like starting to drop radioactive waste because too high a cost in victory points also. So I think we're not gonna do it. We're gonna keep the air units free. Now the reinforcement, we get the replacements. Alright, so if we look at South Korea, they get 2 because they have their capital. So let's bring these guys up to speed. There we go. 2. Nationalist Chinese haven't lost anything. The PLA get 3, but the requirement is they have to be in supply. And let's see if we did this right. Yeah, we cleaned that up last time. I don't think. Oh, there's dead units. There are dead units, and I think PLA replacements appear in China. We can check that too. Come down to the replacement phase. Yeah, reinforcements. Here we go. And this pretty much reveals where everybody's replacements appear. The only ones that appear. Yeah, everybody's on the strategic display except for the ROK and the KPA. Okay, so the Chinese get 6. They could potentially bring almost a whole army back to life here. So that's what they'll do. Let's place these on the China box, and that's good for maybe an invasion too. So that's 6. Okay. So the Chinese are done. Iraq we've done. The KPA. I should have started with them. They get 1. Let's see. Those units are in full strength. So, and KPA units appear on any port or city. So they only get 1. So they're going to have to go for this reduced strength unit here. I think that's a good place right there. Nope, can't go there. Oh, actually, can go here. Okay, so that's them. So we've done them. So the UN gets 1, and the US gets 2. UN appears as coming in as replacement points in the Korea area. Okay, so that's available. Yep, we pulled in the Turks. And the US gets 2. Alright. Big question is, are the Marines in supply? Yes, they are from this port. That's a supply source for those units. Just show you that in supply here. UN USNC friendly ports. That's a friendly port. The zone of control is changed, so we get 2. So we are definitely going to use those two for the Marines. And they are full strength again. Okay. Question is, does anybody want to mobilize anybody? Right now, I'm not going to spend on that. I'm assuming G stands for Germany. We're not going to pull that guy out yet. There is a unit here. I don't have the National Guard units on the map here, but there is the 1st Infantry. It's going to stay in Europe. And that's it. So I think I covered all the bases for the reinforcement phase. And after that, yeah, we don't have the National Guard. This is where they get mobilized. Let's see. So come back up here. And strategic movement. 7th Fleet has to move. Okay, this is a critical move here. The only way the Chinese can put units on Formosa is if the 7th Fleet is not in Formosa. So, that's the other side effect of invading, is to try and cut off supply here. Yep, here it is. Invasion occurs when the 7th Fleet is present in the fort. The Chinese player cannot move to or from Formosa. There's the key. And then if they do a Chinese invasion, they have to be there. Well, that is a no-brainer. So the 7th Fleet goes to Formosa, interdicting the Chinese armies, so they can't reinforce, but they also can't evacuate. So at this point, let's see, strategic movement. We can put these guys on the board. Maybe put them in the back for guerrilla duty. They're moved, so they can't move again. And these guys are now en route and airborne. And from here next turn they could reinforce Formosa, which we may need to do. That actually is a good choice because nobody can get, only the US can reinforce Formosa, and right now none of their units, these units would have to get on a port and embark and end up in Korea, and then the next turn could go there. So this may be the Formosa Taiwan rescue team, rescue forces here. Let's see, so that's, yeah, these will stay here. They'll stay here, so I think I did strategic movement. Let's see what we're doing here. So many air points, and I don't, maybe I should have used them for interdiction. Let's see where we're at. UN player moves a strategic to and from the street on the game map using sea movement. UN player conducts and resolves any airborne and amphibious assaults. There are none. And move the 7th Fleet. And the 7th Fleet is actually considered in the Korea area, so they can immediately move to an adjacent space on the strategic map. Units have to spend the turn embarking and get in the Korea area, and then the next turn they can strategically move. That's why the Chinese invasion kind of caught the US flat-footed. No US units were, well, this unit was on a port, but it got kicked off. So no US units were on the port. They couldn't go to Korea. So no units on the board can get to Formosa except in 2 turns. And if I read this right, we're not putting UN units, can't go. They don't give a positive modifier. So let's see what we've done here. Yep, strategic movement. So now we're actually in the off-board conflict phase. So we're back here, and we're just calculating here what the modifiers are. And if we look at the chart, yep, here it is. Die-roll modifiers and victory points go to the advantage of the capturing player. Okay, +1 for U.S. or National Division, so there's +3 there. -1 per 3 Chinese. There's only 2 Chinese armies. Notice it's 3 Chinese divisions present, which is an army. So it's a +1. I'm not going to bomb Formosa. It makes no sense. There's a collateral damage table here. And this is how many victory points. So if the UN drop 5 or the US drop 5 atomic bombs on Formosa, the communists would lose 2.5 points, and the UN would lose 5 points, victory points. It kind of seems self-defeating there, just for a +1. So with a +1, the lowest is a 3. Alright, so we'll roll 2d6 with a +1 to see what happens this turn. 7. Oh boy. See, that's a bad roll. That indicates to me that the beachhead, the Chinese beachhead, is secure. We needed a lot higher to get overrun. Yeah, the Chinese did a lot more. They actually secured the beachhead. That's why we need to get those reinforcements there fast. But I'm still going to drop 5 atomic bombs on Formosa. So that's bad. The next roll for the Chinese could get ugly. Let's see. So we indicate this. I think we'll indicate this. There's no flip on this. I should have. But that means we got a -2. I'm going to put it on the 2. And just remember that this is 2. There may be a flip side for this, but this is right, -2. So the next time we roll, the Chinese have a secured beachhead, and they get a -2. And it'll be a -1. So, ooh, they could even capture Taipei. So things are going good for China on Formosa. These are the victory points in case we capture here or here. Right now they cancel out. So those US reinforcements next turn are needed, since the Chinese can't reinforce anymore. So that's the foreign conflicts phase. And the next thing we do is the off-board conflicts phase, excuse me. Next we do is a movement phase now. Then the atomic attack, and then the combat, which is going to be interesting. Alright, so the only real attack we want to do is right here against these guys. And they're pretty much out of supply based on that position. Even if the Marines leave, they're still out of supply. There's no land there. So they're going to be halved. So their defense is only 4. So we do want to defend Pyongyang. So what I'm going to do is put the Brits here, move the Marines back here so they can deploy invasion or move out or who knows what. Don't really feel like attacking this mess. I don't kind of like this, but if I fall back that'll tighten their line, but I don't know if there's anything worthwhile to go after. Just 1, 2, 3. I don't think it's worthwhile to capture the rest of North Korea based on where the battle's gone. So at this point what I'd do is start pulling back, setting up for defense, like this one goes here. Yeah, we got 15 with a shift, and then we got 20 with a shift. Let's see what we do here. Okay, The only downside here is well, shoot, they're going to get overwhelmed. This isn't even going to be fair. Let's see what chart looks like for combat here. Off the chart. No pluses. And it looks like no exchanges. So that's good. We'll take that. Yeah, so that's the movement phase. Oh, this guy can't move. So hopefully we're strong enough. 20, 30, 20. So that's pretty strong. We'll see. So I think that's the movement phase, and we should have just... now we'll keep them for defense. Who knows what the Chinese are going to do. So we are setting our lines here. This is the ideal defensive position, the narrowest portion. Yeah, there's no connection here, so there it is, 4 hexes. We have found the absolute narrowest portion of the peninsula. 2 of them get shifts for this, and Pyongyang, I think, gives a +1 DM. So we'll see if the Chinese really want to bash against this. Now, here's where it gets interesting. Now it's the atomic attack phase. And here's the key. This is the thing that's driving what I'm considering. When you do an atomic attack, and I'm going to call it atomic, not nuclear, because these are lower yield. Not saying it's even worth using them here. Single attack bomb destroys all targets in a hex. Atomic bombs when dropped on containing ports, rails, and other cities. Such an act destroys a target, functional purposes, and losing victory points too. Okay, so we have to counteract this with the collateral damage table, but if I'm doing it into North Korea, we got a -1, -1.5. So we come out ahead somewhat. Well, the problem is we may go negative. Anyway, I'm going to try it. Yeah, so let's talk about supply. And the key thing with supply is PLA. They have to trace via a rail line to an unoccupied city in China, or the northern, or I think that east edge there. So it's entirely possible at this point, with properly placed bombs, to isolate all the Chinese here in North Korea. So let's get some destruction pieces and see what happens. That doesn't mean that now the Russians can do the same. So interception of atomic bombs optional. At the time of the Korean War, only means of delivering was by plane. For each A-bomb dropped either in combat against homeland or strategic, roll a die. On a die roll of 6, intercepted. But see, then you just keep doing it. And then another 6, they get it. I'll play that just because gotta have some way to restrain us from doing this. But if I look at these, the Chinese have to start within 5 and then trace to 5 hexes to a supply hex or a rail line connected to a friendly supply source. So what we can do to make this rail line ineffective, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, they just can't, well, they can get there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, so that guy could be in supply, but let's see. So what we're going to do, and we're just going to do destroyed. We're not going to bomb people. So by putting one here, we have effectively removed the effectiveness of this rail line, do another one here. And let's see, coming over here. Well, we're going to have to bomb this hex. That's just too close. And we're going to see that's a victory point. Let's see. And then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So, wow. Let's just go for it. So look at that. Wow. Well, this is... we've definitely moved from what happened in real life. I think there's another one here. Oh, we got to bomb this one. Do we? Well, we do. Let's just do it. And then the last thing we have to bomb. Yep, that's the map edge route. So I got to bomb there. Let's see what that does. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Well, we don't have to bomb there. We could bomb all the way up here. It's probably a better choice, because that kills that rail line. So, the victory point calculations are the interesting things. Let's see, how many did we bomb? I'll just see. Looks like we bombed 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8. And yeah, these rail lines don't connect, these don't cross over. So let's just roll 8 and see how many 6s we get. Then we have to put more. Oh, I have to write this down. Intercepted. Okay, any 6s. First 2 got through. 2, 4, 6, 8. None were intercepted. Alright. And these are all in China. So let's do the first collateral damage. 8 in Red China means the communists lose 8 victory points and we lose 4. Ouch, we're going negative. Don't know how good an idea this is, actually. We're going to 0. And the communists are going to 21 down to 13. Okay, but actually, the communists also lost 2 victory points here. Let's take a look at this now. 2 on Andong, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. City, city, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Wow. That means the communists are here with us. That means those atomic bomb attacks have pretty much brought us down to within 3 points of each other. Now we did use 8, so that means from a number point we're here. Going to get crowded. So we're at 292. Well, that pretty much evened things out. Yeah, they're here. Okay. Now that's interesting. The Soviet Union can do some bombing if they want. Alright, that's the atomic attack phase. There is one way I wouldn't use it. Let's look at the rules again. You can use it to bomb combat. And you bomb a target, you got to roll a 6, and you only get a step loss of 1 unit. But you get the collateral damage, so in my mind that's probably not worth it. So the last thing we have is a 56 to 4. I would pretty much say that's off the chart. And let's check that. 56 to 4. 1d6. That's 8 to 1. 3. No modifiers. 3 is a DE. And a DE just to make sure all are eliminated. So these guys all go to eliminated units. Now, there's actually no reason to advance in that hex because you can't go from here to here. You have to go through Pyongyang. So there's our line. And supply is judged at the moment of contact. I won't do it right now, but let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. He can get to, nope. Nope, that's, wow. That's pretty much shut him down. Most Chinese units now are out of supply. Okay. Food for thought. Use of atomic bombs in the 50s. Actually, for removing supply, it's very effective, apparently. But UN player has to be careful now because the rule's right. If both sides are negative, nobody wins. So they're going to need to take some other stuff here. And what happens if the USSR starts bombing? Let's look at that. Collateral damage, yeah. This was on map, red China, -1, -1/2. Did that right. On map, South Korea. It flips. So if they drop a few bombs, well, they drop one bomb, it makes the UN go negative. I don't know if they need to drop more, but they have the same thing. Wow. The Korean units will be out of supply if you bomb here. And Seoul will go. And based on what the US just did. Okay. Wow. Everything changes. So, I will end it here. We're at the end phase. I know the designer is watching these videos, so if I did anything wrong, Carrie, you can feel free to drop me a line, and we'll go from there. But, yeah, it's definitely not historical anymore. Alright, I'm trying to cut these down on length, but I can't stop myself from strategizing. Anyway, if you like this, click like, and if you want to know when the next one comes, go ahead and click subscribe. Thanks for listening.